Aloha. It's time for Java, and we may have to make it a double today. It's Thursday, February 29th, 2024, also PCE Day. So, this is the day that the market mostly has been waiting for. So, with our main risk indicator, it's been relatively stable. The underlying parts relative strength of the dollar actually came back a bit, retraced, but we've got the 10-year yield is beginning to increase relatively rapidly in anticipation of this number. So, yesterday we had weak stocks, volatility is increasing, and it just kind of chopped around yesterday, ended up a slight bit soft, if you will. So, we've got the futures also in agreement, it's kind of a negative market. So, the PCE, we will get that prior to market open. If it comes in hot again, it could really move the numbers today. So, we've also got the initial jobless claims coming in as well as PMI. These are the numbers we're expecting reports from as far as their earnings. And then also for Friday. So these are prior to open if you want to position yourselves prior to market open in any of these companies. So yesterday had a roaring rally in Bitcoin. So the price hit 64,000 before retracing for a bit. And traders are anticipating new all-time high before the halving, which should happen this next about April timeframe, couple of months. So with that, all of the miners and relative companies, if you will, all rallied as well. And the exchange Coinbase shut down for a while. The traffic was overwhelming, and it was even reporting some accounts at zero, but it was just on the readings that they could not access the data. It's back up and running again now, but they definitely were not scaled to handle that. So they've got some work to do. We've got the SEC is investigating whether OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, this is the same guy that started WorldCoin, the one that would scan your eyeball. So they're investigating as to whether he actually misled investors, and they're looking at all of his emails and internal communications. So that could be very negative for that, the C3 AI, OpenAI, artificial intelligence stock itself. And if it does, probably temporary. So we also are facing imminent shutdown. In the United States, as far as the government, they reached a last minute deal to kind of push this forward again because it was possible March 2nd that they could not agree upon. So they still have to draft more permanent government agreement on spending. So it's still a mess there. In banking with the economy, they're talking about a disorderly commercial property crash as a key risk for the financial sector. And so these are central banks that are starting to warn about this. And we've known about this for a while, but I think it's not going to be specific to the date of the short term bank funding, which will end March 11th. However, won't be a sharp decline, I don't believe, because it can do extensions through this. However, that could be a catalyst to a longer term downtrend. So they're grappling with over $1 trillion in refinancing tsunami in 2024. And Goldman Sachs is talking about that a third of the commercial market maturities that are due this year in 2024 are because they were deferred from 2023. And so with that, they can also extend beyond that, but a lot of them are really coming due and they will be forced at current rates. So that could be serious headwinds for them if they don't basically either cut rates, able to refinance, or restructure in a different way. So with this on the energy, now they're talking about an energy crisis. German households heavily burdened by energy costs. Well, it's not just German households, but they experienced 41% spike in 2024. And a lot of this is because they were repurchasing Russian fuel, but had to basically launder it through a third country, if you will, refinery. So that all added to the cost. So because of the sanctions that were put on Russia, because of Ukraine, they raised the cost of energy on themselves in essence. So now we've got the European Union telling citizens to further reduce their gas consumption. So they're basically kind of holding on here to the fact that winter will be ending soon, at least they are hoping so, because the energy issues that they're having there could be a real problem. So with this, we've also got German job losses were higher than they expected for the month. This is the numbers that they're reporting. But I would tend to believe that it is basically getting away from where they were. There was a lot of talk not long ago about how they couldn't staff the manufacturing plants. And the real story underlying is that the manufacturing plants were basically shutting and going out of business. So with this, we've also got the World Bank warning that we've got the slowest global growth since the pandemic. So finally seeing things slowing down, although with the GDP number yesterday, just kind of building their own numbers and going to their own narrative. So we've got that battle still going on in Washington, D.C. versus the Federal Reserve. So we've got the United States. They want to investigate national security data risks from Chinese vehicles. So what this is based on is that any of the smart technology that is within the vehicles to tie into identity, they're saying that they want to basically investigate this for data going back to China. Well, I think there's a bit of validity to this. I think it's also a push to kind of give the edge to manufacturing back to American companies, because the Chinese companies for the EV space has really been taking off and it's hurting sales. So we had also, of course, the US Army slashing thousands of jobs, 24,000 jobs. But what they're saying, the real story underneath, they're not cutting back on jobs. This is the government. They want to expand. So the 24,000 jobs of 5% that they cut are actually, they can't, their recruitment numbers are down. They can't get people to join under what's going on right now. People are not fit enough, and they've got some real issues with these shortfalls that's happening. So they just decided to slash these jobs since they've gone long enough without filling them. And so, of course, the question behind that logically is, did they need them in the first place? One wonders. So we've got some reports coming out, CIA working in Ukraine from a US mercenary. I don't know how they can act like they're shocked about this, but they have several installations that he was talking about that the US has been covertly working over in Ukraine in several aspects, which I really can't talk about here other than a couple of them involve a laboratory. So moving on from that, we've also got, they're finally beginning to admit Ukraine's front line is collapsing. So they've got a lack of ammunition and they've been held up from kind of any more money. The US has kind of slowed that down a bit, and it's enough to show their weakness. So with that, we did send them some pretty good equipment, and basically the Russians just annihilated an Abrams tank. So they've, of course, got that over the news there because it's a big story for them. It's not a cheap tank. So anyway, they're just getting destroyed, really. And so now Pentagon is pondering $4 billion additionally for their arms supply. That's on top of this other bill that they're trying to get pushed through for the additional $60 billion aid package. So crazy amounts of money, basically, to be honest, getting dumped down the drain. They really want to just push this along until it can go through elections. So they're talking about a catastrophic scenario if NATO troops deployed to Ukraine. This is because French president decided that he was going to say they may send people. Well, Russia has responded, and basically they're talking about the possibility of nuclear war if they involve themselves in Ukraine, because that would be a direct war, which is what they've been trying to avoid. So we've got Mitch McConnell in other news. He's retiring. He's had a few health issues and frozen on stage. So he will step down finally as head of basically the GOP side. So we've got another Illinois judge disqualifying Trump from the ballot. So regardless of who you're voting for and regardless of who I would vote for, I don't want some judge making the decision of who I can vote for. I'd like to have that freedom to choose myself whether he would be fit to suit that job or anyone else. So I don't think anyone should be taken off the ballot through this decision of someone else. It's over the top, in my opinion, anyway. So we've got Iran and Russia inking several other deals with their joint economic commissions. This just ended yesterday, and they've got quite a bit more trade deals that they've got going on. So with this, we've also got the digital yuan, because BRICS is now talking about possibly using them pegged to oil. And so I think this is a big part of why oil is being manipulated on the other end as far as pricing. Because if they can't do it directly with sanctions, they're going to find another way. So we've got this coming out that they're working towards this. We'll see how that works. But as for now, we've got the PCE number coming out prior to market open. I wish you all a green trading day, or just a great day if you're not a trader. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.